Hello and welcome. I bet you're looking to avoid that AI garbage floating around the internet. Perhaps you feel ready to delve into the darkest part of yourself and create your very own horror story. With my help, you'll be able to achieve your dreams and share it with the world. Maybe it will be something scary, bone-chilling, a slasher, or perhaps a slow burn thriller. Maybe something a tad camp, with cryptids, crime, maybe even a revised version of an urban legend with a modern twist. Or even one that leaves readers feeling uncertain, terrified about their place in the universe, looking over their shoulders at night. And whenever they're alone, they never feel safe. Perhaps based on a true story, with some exaggerations to varying degree. I can't tell you whether this would help you become the next Stephen King. But maybe with some help, you'll get that idea of yours on the page. So, time to rub your hands together and forge your own creepypasta, Nosleep, or any other kind of story. Are you ready? Let's do this! Everyone has their own methods, their technique, their secret formula if you wish. But here is mine. Now, I can't give away all my secrets. Thus far, it has worked for me, so maybe it'll work for you. Ugh, damn. That was cheesy. I need to tell you the cold-hearted truth. You actually have to sit down and write, "Shut up, stop putting it off. If you don't, it will..."
Get back on topic.
Sorry about that. I'm a stickler for my writing routine. Any variation and I can't work. Therefore, having a tidy desk and a quiet place to work is essential. My friends have called me a diva and said that I need to chill. But they don't understand. I need to do this. The best creativity comes at nighttime. My muse, my beloved, fickle and vain, only comes at night. Specifically between midnight and 3 a.m. Yes, shut up. I know the witching hour is a thing, but think. The house is finally quiet. I'm unlikely to be disturbed by my roommates, or phone calls, or people coming to the door wanting to sell me their bullshit. And there is no sunlight peering in at me. I can focus better. And it's just me and my PC. Shut up! Paul! I'm working! You know not to disturb me! Okay, sorry about that. Listen up. First, I sit at my desk with a bottle of gin or whatever questionable quality drink that was cheapest, and a big mug of the strongest coffee possible beside me, while glaring at a stark white blank page. When I'm in the zone, nothing else matters. I'll forget to eat, drink, and have lost days at a time when a tale demands to be written. The glare of the screen reflecting in my glasses. I used to light up a cigarette, but switched to vaping 5 years ago. I'd put my phone on silent, tell my roommates not to bother me, and I believe they know better after the last incident. Once free and I know I won't be interrupted, I'll start typing down the first thing that comes to mind. A character, or perhaps a place or a time period of interest. Perhaps even an emotion I want to convey. Something just to start the engine. Sometimes it is like an endless fit of typing, faster and faster. Sure, I may have gone through a slightly abnormal amount of keyboards in the past 3 years. You know, gotta get the story on the page. Later on, I'll talk about what you can do if you experience a roadblock. Unfortunately, they're just a part of life. So, next I'd exhale, rest my head in my hands, scream internally about how I need to finish writing, or how a character is the biggest moron to ever walk the face of the earth, and that I should never write again, or have to keep writing.
Or we will devour you.
Ponder deleting all your writing, but the itch, that itch to create never ceases. Anyway, I'd read over what I wrote and give it a general feeling, do some minor tweaking, the odd typo or strangely worded sentence, backspace like crazy, and continue again. I'd think about a spooky topic, or a nightmare that has plagued me since childhood. What else could happen to the character? How will they react? Who helps or hinders them on their progress? How do they change? Once an idea has formed, I'll type, then take a swig, then keep typing. Soon enough, I'd see a paragraph sitting there and feel enthusiasm rising. To prove a couple of people wrong when they mocked my writing as a child. To be fair, admittedly I had some terrible ideas. Hindsight is a real eye-opener. Spite, in part, I suppose. The truth, it is none of these. And I wish it was as small and fickle a reason. I need to make sure it is safe to tell you. If I don't keep writing, I die. No, just kidding. Can you imagine? Oh, fuck. I experimented by not writing for a whole month. When you write a little every day, you feel the change. Not a single word, nor a note or reference to a plot, character, or idea. Immediately I shut any thoughts down. It was harder than expected. A character, usually someone who died in the story, in some brutal way would whisper, day and night, wanting me to write them so they wouldn't be forgotten, that a trace of them would remain. Sometimes I got concerned about my mental health. But I remember, authors tend to be a little eccentric when it comes to their stories. Instead, I'd exercise until I'd throw up, drink to excess, absorb myself in a video game, or binge watch a TV show. And still, the worlds and voices would continue to plague me. Hell, I'd even touch grass and I noticed a change. The first change was minimal, even laughable. I had a small birthmark on my wrist, and suddenly it was larger. I ignored it. By day 3, I remember staring into the mirror, and a stranger stood in the reflection. It resembled me, to a point it could even fool my closest loved ones. It matched my movement, a shift to the right, a finger pointing at my chin, and when I leaned closer, the lips turned into a wicked smirk. I ran out of the bathroom and hurried to sit with my roommates, who were equally surprised to see me willingly join them while they were watching some reality trash on TV. I kept checking reflections, corners, anywhere spooky it could be hiding from. I felt as though it lingered behind me. I figured I'd try to get some evidence, and saw a shadow figure standing behind me, just past my right shoulder. No features, just a shapeless human-shaped blob. I opened my Google Doc app and started taking notes for a story, loose descriptions that could be filled in later. Shadow person, possibly a mimic with a question mark, even potential titles that could work. The Shadow Man is hunting you. The Haunting Shadow, or my personal favorite, The One Who Lurks. I don't know. Titles were honestly never my strength. Glancing over my shoulder, and relieved, I saw it was gone. I noticed a weirded out sideward glance from my roommate, Tom, a tall, lanky ginger who worked in IT. He didn't question it. 2 years of living with me, I guess. Frankie cleared his throat. Well, Emmy, his partner, didn't look at me, and purposely got distracted by some brain rot on her phone. And last but not least, Gaz, who tried looking at anything but at me. I know when to take a hint, suddenly feeling unwelcome, and desiring to return to my natural habitat. Politely I made my excuses and went back to my PC. A slave to my muses.
Only we tell you when to stop.
I looked in the direction of my bedroom door. I don't want to write this. It's kinda stupid. I murmured to myself while I typed a couple of paragraphs. Loose physical descriptions and how I was feeling. There are different types of fear. About how the helpless victim was being stalked by an unknown entity. The tapping of the keys like a not-so-gentle song, and I reached out to find my drink depleted. Damn it, time to get another. I talked to myself, half rising whilst dumbly staring at the screen.
You can't stop now.
I froze hearing the words. I actually heard them. Other writers may experience this. Their characters sound different. Part of writing was imagining events, places, people who would respond. Even acting them out so lines sounded correct to the ear. But I've never heard them. Looking around my empty room for any sign that I was not alone. My eyes kept scanning, looking in the corners and any empty places. I didn't feel any different. No goosebumps nor hair raised on the back of my neck. I didn't feel sick or dizzy. Unsure how late it was. Checking the time, I picked up my phone and snorted when I saw it was 3 a.m. So damn typical. At least it wasn't the stroke of midnight. I figured I was getting too wrapped up in the story. Instead, I decided it was time to stretch, grab a coffee, and start my annual pacing. The kettle brought to a boil, and it was still dark outside, with only a streetlight shining into the kitchen, and tapping the surface of the kitchen counters while I waited. The streetlight flickered 3 times, then a steady stream of light shone brightly. I wondered how many useless tropes my imagination would come up with. All I needed now was a strange voice coming through the phone, or to wake up with an entity staring down at me, or sitting on my chest, or standing in the corner of the room. Flicking some instant coffee into a cup, adding a little too much sugar and pouring in the hot water. Stirring with a spoon, I figured my story would blend normal life with horror. I wanted them to feel unsure whenever they were in places they were supposed to feel safe. A door slammed shut in the silent house. I couldn't help but snort. It would have been perfect to add to a story. Ooh, a random door slam. Cheesy but effective. Probably more so in a horror movie. You can add in the sound effect for the extra impact. The likely answer was one of my roommates, closing it just a little too hard in an otherwise quiet house. Picking up my coffee mug, taking a sip, and walking to my desk, placing it down on my coaster, and giving the chair a spin before looking at the screen, only to see a blank Word document staring back at me. No, no, no. I wasn't going to lose the work I put in. I tapped my trusty Control Z. Nothing. Maybe one of my roommates snuck in while I was distracted and pranked me. I highlighted it all and found a bar at the bottom, written in white so I couldn't see it, contrasting with the harsh white background. I know dark mode is a thing, but I guess this just works for me. The hidden text read,
You should be writing.
Okay, now I knew he was messing me around. He liked to startle me, or otherwise ask tedious questions while I was attempting to concentrate. I stood up, walked to his room, and knocked on the door. Oi, Stephen. I don't mind a prank now and then, but don't mess with my writing. I paused, waiting to see if he'd reply. Silence. Steve? Yeah, that's what I thought. I figured he was ignoring me, since it was late, and walked back to my computer. Now behind. Also, you may find when you write these stories, you will have blind enthusiasm, and the words are easily cast, or you will struggle. Every tap of the key feels like an ice spike being driven up through your fingernail. The story struggling to take any semblance of shape. Nothing you write will make sense or be good enough.
It will never please me.
I eased myself into the chair, closed my eyes, and saw the paragraphs had returned. I checked for any secret messages, and finding none. Taking a massive gulp of coffee, rereading everything, and finding it all absolutely ridiculous. The character unrelatable, the storyline stale, and worst of all, the dialogue. I've never cringed so much. This isn't necessarily abnormal. When you're brainstorming and in the zone, so to speak, you will write without a care. Sometimes, I feel my house was built to create these spooky stories because every so often the floors would creak with no one standing there, or the pipes would make noise. Little things you don't notice or care about during the day, but at night, it makes you wonder whether there's an intruder in your house. Another thing I've noticed about writers is a love of the nocturnal. I'm speaking generally, of course. Anyway, back to writing. I think people underestimate how effective a short and concise story can be. Length can always be fun, especially if you're absorbed in the world. But endless pages of conversation or mindless descriptions about random items that no one gives a shit about? Oh, God. Think about why two-sentence horror stories are so popular. Short and sweet. I gotta stop thinking about things so much. I keep feeling like eyes are on me. A total cheesy cliche. I know. Despite being predators, ancient men certainly had plenty of predators themselves, who were all too happy to make a tasty meal out of us. It's funny how anxiety works. Our brains unable to tell the difference between an animal stalking us or an angry boss who isn't impressed with our current workload. Your heart begins to beat faster. Mouth goes dry. Your stomach will turn if you don't need to vomit or rush to the toilet, etc. All of these factor into the story you wish to create.
Write the damn story.
I gotta focus. You need to just write and finish. It all takes practice. I hear reading other stories helps you learn sentence structure and different writing techniques. Same with, getting away from things and actually touching grass. Okay. I'm 1,000 words in. Not bad. I want to get to at least 5k. It is perfect for about a 35 to 40 minute video. This better not turn into another damn series because I swear I really don't need another one. Or another set of voices I can't escape. Okay. So, the Shadow Man has been stalking the protagonist inside the family's home. It starts off small. I want to give the impression that perhaps it isn't supernatural or an entity. Maybe a stalker or a murderer. Or, my favorite, the protag is currently going insane. Being sleep deprived. Huh. Not that I know anything about that. Ooh, isolation. Yes, that's another element I want to explore. Okay, so the protagonist is isolated, paranoid, dealing with voices and seeing strange shadows. Nah. How about we see prosperity? Perhaps they did something where the audience is excited to hear about their suffering. Okay. I'll need to rewrite some paragraphs, change a few things. Oh yeah. Don't be afraid to change parts of the story you don't like, especially in the past. If only we could do this during our lives. Am I right?
Keep going.
Huh. Out of coffee already. Okay, time for another refill. Another writing tip. If your story is longer or if you have a bad memory, get a notepad, either physical or on your computer, and make character or setting notes. Better to have the information there and ready rather than record while realizing a character's hair color changed 3 times. Not that I've done any of that, I swear. Point being, keep a track of things happening in your story. Coffee. Oh shit. There's the sunrise. Well, looks like I did another all-nighter. And, I don't remember writing this. Let's see, Ugh. I definitely didn't write this.
As you walk through the woods, he will find you. Where the spirits cried in warning, he'll be watching you. Once you're in his clutches, he'll never release you. Forever you'll be his, a corpse without a soul. He met you when you were young. Now will you pay the toll?
Oh, jeez. Did I write this? What the actual hell? Delete. Ew. Okay, I can't remember who said this or which character said what. But you can't edit a blank page. So I guess I'll fill some things in. I hate when a story doesn't flow.
Get back to work.
I remember writing when I was a child, using things I dreamt of or memories that weren't the best. I think my roommates are going to be late for work. Okay, quick message to get them up. And sent. Okay, I liked a portion of that idea. So now we're at 3,000 words. It doesn't quite feel finished. The protagonist is confronting the entity in the mirror for the first time, and is standing in the doorway beside her. I don't want the origins to be confirmed in the story, and to leave room for speculation. When stories are explained too much, I don't like it, but I guess some people enjoy stories like that too. And, no shower or walking sounds. I should probably get up and check in on them. Hey, Tom? You up? Come on, you're gonna be late for work. Other than not having to pay for a freeloader's bills, I don't particularly care about their employment. What I would like is to get the house for myself for a decent period of time. No distractions. Hey, wake up, Tom? Okay, I should check in on him. Come on, man, still in bed? Wake the hell up. Good, finally awake, now I can get back to work. Now, where was I? Oh yeah. I'm in the middle. Some unlikely and spooky events have happened, both in the story and real life. The hard part is deciding whether or not to leave it on a cliffhanger or give it a nice polished ending. A happy ending? Or a sad one? Or perhaps something bittersweet, leaving the reader with an unresolved feeling. Okay. I think I'm going to leave it on a cliffhanger and see what the audience thinks about it. I wonder who will guess and who won't. Ugh. God, hey, get some cough drops when you're out. You sound like you're about to keel over and die. For fuck's sake, I'm trying to write here. Die in your own damn time. I have a deadline. Okay, so... Oh yeah. I've heard to let a story rest for a while, because if I keep reading it, I'm gonna throw my PC out the damn fucking window. Put it aside, come back and read it with fresh eyes, or get a friend to read it over. Get some feedback. Now, if you're sensitive about the story, always remember, you are your own worst critic. And you'll end up saying even worse things about it. Remember, some people are just
Meat for the grinder.
not your audience, and that's okay. Anyway, since Emmy was still here and hadn't given us a cent for rent, despite being here 90% of the damn time, I found her standing in the kitchen, blank staring at the wall, in a state of semi-undress, wearing her boyfriend's oversized shirt and her underwear, slumped over and looking kind of vague. How much did they do last night? Hey, do you think you could look over my story? Give me your thoughts? Yeah. After your coffee... Damn, what a night. I figured I'd get back to work and email it over. And, hey, Em! Stop following me. I'll send it over, and you can get to it whenever. Em! I told you! It will be later on. Oh, damn. She really did have too much last night. She always... Keep distractions to a minimum. I gotta get out of this rental, I swear. Okay, so adding feedback to the list. What would I recommend for that? Okay, nice. And I should probably check the good old grammar and punctuation to make it understandable. Easier to read and all that. I hate this part. Trying to convey emotions and feelings the main character is experiencing without outright saying it means you need to rely on body language, subtle signs, growing emotions, all things an alert reader could pick up on without the character realizing it. It's a bit of a balance, I guess. And just a sec, it's stuffy in here. I need to open a window and let some fresh air inside. Ugh! What's that smell? I'm gonna have to aerate the whole damn house. I bet Tom hasn't been cleaning his damn room again. I swear, if we get ants or mice, I'm gonna kill him. Oh, Em. Hi. You're still here. Nice. Could you give me a hand and open the doors and windows in the front part of the house? Smells worse here. Well, can you deal with that? Thanks. I should tell Gaz to tend to his girl because this is absolutely stupid. Keep it down out there. Stop messing around. Another thing to consider is the different characters in your story. Who are they? What is their role in the story? Do they help or hinder the protag? One time, I wrote a story and added a character early on, only to have them randomly disappear. Or only introduced for the smallest section, which is realistic, I suppose. How many people do you see in your daily life that you never see again? Even if you return to the same establishment. Sure, it might increase the likelihood. I suppose if this was a scary story, it would be Gaz, or maybe Tom, Frankie, or maybe Stephen. Referenced briefly and never seen again. I'm so close to being finished. I want to have an ending that will conclude the story and let the viewer ponder what could have happened. That, or perhaps they've already fallen asleep by this time.
When they sleep, it is easy to implant memories inside them.
Okay, I think I've got it. The protagonist will go to sleep and wake up. No. That damn trope gets used too often. At least I didn't add a random zombie to the story. Think, brain, think! Maybe sent to the psych ward. Finally consumed by the entity. Becoming completely withdrawn into the shadows world. No longer interacting with it.
Keep writing.
Why were the endings always so damn difficult? Aha! I'll write about how the gradual impact caused them to destroy themselves. I don't want to add in any additional character, or have a final say officer to conclude the story and give it a nice little polished ending. This is Officer so-and-so reporting on the crime, blah blah blah. Some stories this technique works well. Thing is, why? Not everything about our world is explained yet. I need a stretch. My muscles, my wrists and fingers are tight. Deadline's approaching.
Get back to work.
What the hell is this? I told them not to disturb me while I'm writing my story. What the hell do you want? There's no one there. I could have sworn I heard someone. I'll take a quick look around. Ugh. Look at the carpet. We're never gonna get our bond back. Okay, so it looks like they've all decided to head out and leave the front door open. Oh wait, a post-it note on the fridge door. Let's see what it says.
We will never make noise again.
And no time when they'll be heading back. Okay then, bit dramatic. Passive-aggressive much? I bet it was Emmy writing that. Nah, being passive-aggressive is more Gaz's style. Okay. I think I'll come up with something quick and wrap this up. Just so I don't have another unfinished story or series lurking in the archives. I should go through those someday and see if there are any hidden gems I can bring to life.
She will never finish us. We will haunt her until she does. There'll always be more of us. We'll call for her to give birth to us.
The Shadow Man kept calling, removing the faces and identities of those around, only for his victims to turn into shadows themselves, going forth and reaping to fill their aching hearts. I don't want to get into showing and not telling territory. Damn it. The more people devoted themselves to it, him, they would find themselves losing their identity. And over time, they would become shadows. Or, here's part of what I have so far. I guess I'll finally get around to naming the character. No secret meaning or anything, just a plain name. Susie, too young or old. I want them to feel easily replaceable by the audience. Like they could become the protag. With each feeding she found herself drained. Her face becoming withdrawn. Full cheeks replaced by hollowed ones. While none of her clothes fit properly. Hanging down limp from her body. That should be enough to explain it.
Keep going. You can never stop.
I went back to the medical clinic for an update. a doctor's visit only a month before, and blood tests showed my iron levels were normal. However, at the insistence of my family, I went again. The results showed across the board all of my nutrient levels were dangerously low. The cause, however, was uncertain. A friend came to take me to the hospital. Stephen?
The character is you.
I'm so tired. I want to lay down, but I can't stop typing.
You'll write until you die, as will they.
I hope you enjoy this story. What did you think of it? Let me know what you thought in the comments section down below. Don't forget to stab the like button, subscribe, hit the bell and leave a comment. This video is made with the support of my incredible channel members, Patreon subscribers and all my viewers. Thank you so much for supporting me. Don't forget to check out my social media accounts below, including my merch. Stay safe, my little spooklings. And remember, I'll be watching you.